Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Bum Bum Bum, the Hout Hustle live talk show. I'm Jeneth Blacker,
And I'm Bianca Reina.
and today we're talking about rewiring your DNA via epigenetics, but mainly just through your entire hormonal system and frequencies. And this is quite my favorite topic to ever talk about because once I got hooked in truly to meditation and really being able to change my vibe, so to speak,
Yeah.
that changed everything.
Yeah.
And people talk about this all the time, and yet it's just talk. And then you still go on through your life and you feel a little lack. And then you're like, well, shit, it's not working because I feel lack
Right.
in
Everything's
some
not working
area
out for
of your
me.
life, right? And then you're like, I don't get it. I can't just keep thinking and being abundant when I have all this like outward evidence of all this lack. I can't fake it.
Yeah.
And this hopefully will get you over that hump between that faking it or that acting as if to truly being able to be this frequency. And I feel like it may, I mean, even at the beginning of January of last year, I was still nowhere close to really understanding this on an energetic and a cellular level. I was close, and I knew I could transform bodies through energy healing. I knew that I could do all these things, right?
Yeah.
And especially, but I almost gave credit to other bodies when I would do true, whether it was verbal processing, whether it was hands-on processing or whatever, it's almost that I gave credit to the participant for being willing to go there and not necessarily, I do feel like it's a dance. You
It
both
is.
you both have to be in, you both have to choose it, you both have to say yes to it for it to really happen. But this is going to be a cool conversation. I
Yeah.
know I've rambled on and I
Yeah.
will stop, but I am ready for it.
Sure. So what's transpired from you since you've been back from Disney? Just doing a little check-in.
Oh my gosh, so much. I think the main thing is this was one of the first trips that I went on that I really felt when I came back, I really had a vacation.
Yeah.
And I know that that is from the work that we've done last year because I can be present.
What are
My
you normally like when you go on vacation?
my vigilant system is as high as it can possibly be, and I'm in total beta state, and I have to control every single move and every single move that everyone else makes.
Nice.
And then I exhaust myself and become incredibly frustrated. And then I'm back on at home and everything's a mess and I have to unpack. And then the stress just continues another week. And
I
then
feel
finally,
like that sounds like a pretty usual theme for some people when they go on vacation. You
is
don't know.
that your theme? What would you
No,
say?
no, no, not anymore. I really love what I do now. I do know that this work has changed me.
Mhm.
In the past, I used to dread going on vacation. This sucks, right? Like I would dread going away from this was when I was working in corporate. I would, because my goals were so lofty,
Mm.
it was such a high pressure. Anywhere I worked, it was very, very high pressure. And yeah, I felt like I would have to come back and then do instead of get to be, right? So I
Right.
really understand what it is to be now.
Yeah.
So I was excited that we were able to run the show, me and the audience. I think that you guys contributed a lot without having to like call you or bug you or do anything. It was really fun
Yeah, I was really happy about
and
that.
gave you that and that little bit of reprieve. So let's move it to today's Mystic Space Weather News because we've got a
Yes.
couple of announcements
Mhm.
and things that really line up, if you will. Today is January 16th. This is for the whole week. It's according to spaceweather.com. There she says that there's a, well, I'm not sure if it's a she or he, but they say it's there's an increasing chance of flares. The sun has been quiet for more than a week, and that's about to change. 2 new sunspots, sunspot number 3959 and 3962, have unstable Delta class magnetic fields that harbor energy for X class solar flares. Remember, X class is our highest class. So don't be surprised if one of them explodes before the end of the week.
That sounds a little scary.
And then on the 25th, we're going to have that really cool planetary alignment. So it's a
planetarily align you too.
Yay, like that. So we also, in addition to having those energies enter our atmosphere, into the entire cosmos, right? We also, and remember, this is the planetary alignment visible from Earth, right? They may not be aligned in other on Mars, right? If I was standing on Mars, they may not. But for us, it is a very unique time. And we are also using that very much the transmutation, the energy of rewiring, resetting, a lot of re's and a lot of reasons to join us on January 25th.
All day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's totally free.
We have over 14 different speakers. We have different topics. I just went through the agenda. They're 30 minutes each. So it's going to be
pow.
Right.
Everyone has a free gift for you as well.
That's 14 free gifts. I mean,
We've
this is going to be a really big day of lots of meditation, activation, group sound healing. I mean, you are going to come out. I was like, I'm going to be purple and green after this. Like,
surprises and prizes and prizes. And I really think that you will feel like we took 9 hours to rewire your DNA. It's something you can come back to. You can purchase a series if you want. And keep reliving some of these quantum activations. It's a totally different format than we've done before.
No interviews. So we're not going to do any interviews. They're going to come on. They own our virtual stage for the next 30 minutes, and they are going to come and do their magic. It's like a magic show, a mystical magic show. For Rewiring Your Vein. I see a whole bunch of hands coming up, and yay and cheers and thank y'all. We're so excited. Like, we've really wanted to put something together really different, and that's like a total contribution. No one's going to be making any offers. This is them coming on and just sharing their best of the best that they have to share with you. So
it starts at 8 a.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
And we're going to give you a little taster of some of this type of work during this call as well.
So if you're not already, if you're listening on YouTube, if you're not already on our part of our inner circle or on our newsletter list, go ahead and just go over to howthustle.com. It'll be in the description, and opt in, put your little, first name and email. We don't sell or spam or anything like that. And you'll get automatically the information to join us and how to watch and everything like that. Plus, you'll get some free gifts from us right away as well. So there you go.
Do that before Tuesday, because that's when all the details will come out.
It'll be really fun. And you can do it anytime, but definitely go ahead and jump on that and make sure that you're getting it. Also, when you do that, go ahead and be sure that you whitelist our emails. That's just basically all you have to do is go over to your opt-in, go over to your inbox. And if you don't see anything from us, it's Jennifer Leonka. And then if you don't see anything, go look in your spam or your junk mail and just pop that dude back over to your inbox.
Just drag it.
And that is what allows our emails to continue to come through, and they won't be classified junk mail anymore. It just happens. Anyway, one more thing.
Have text reminders too. So if any of you guys would prefer that, we will try to work that out as well. I know.
I love having text reminders.
Get a text reminder right before something, and
I don't always.
It's only one day, so you're only going to get text messages like that day a couple times. So
it'll be super fun though. So one more thing I wanted to share for Mystic Space Weather News. This comes to us from Instagram. It says Rachel's Butterfly Effect. I always like to give credit. She says the Ascension Energy update for this time. Says the high vibe train is leaving and the station, and all you need to do is say yes to get your ticket. There's so much momentum and movement in these energies, so don't miss the ride of a lifetime. That means join us for January 25th. Sit back and let the train drive you into the reality of your dreams. If you are feeling heavy or stuck, this is what we're talking about today. This may be because you are in resistance. Now is the time to micromanage. Now is not the time to micromanage or control. Again,
It is though.
imagine being the brightest, most confident version of yourself where the things just come to you naturally and easily. This is the new reality you are driving toward. Remember, it is okay to stand out from the crowd. Yes. And you came here to be different. And another yes. Please, no, you came here to play big and you came here to be a leader. I truly know that. For every single one of us, I always say this, we all have our unique signature resonance. No one else is your signature resonance. It's the frequency that you broadcast out to the world. It can vary, it can change, it can raise, but the main thing I want you to always take away is that you came to Earth with your signature resonance at this unique time in Earth's history to raise the vibration. Even if you were not to be here tomorrow with us on Earth anymore, you still have a very big role in your existence. You work with the ley lines, your energy transmutes the world. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And join us January 25th. We're excited. That's what I got. Mystic Space Weather News today.
Let me just say, you might want to take notes on this call
Okay.
because Lianka just said something that's your signature resonance. Now, what is that really? Let's just kind of break that down for a minute so that you can have and each day you're like, what's my signature resonance today, right?
How would I like to broadcast?
Yeah.
What is the
Well,
frequency I'd like to broadcast
At
at?
first, I think we have
Sure.
to figure out what we're already broadcasting,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
Which is basically
What does that
how
mean?
you identify yourself.
Uh-huh.
It's what you think other people think about you is often what you think about yourself that isn't even true.
Uh-huh.
So let's just look at that for a minute. What is that for you that you think about yourself, right?
Uh-huh.
Other people think about you and you don't like it. And you kind of know it's not true, but at the same time, you do think it's true. What is that? And if you find something, go ahead and type it in the chat. Because I used to think that people didn't think I was smart. That people just thought I was like, kind of flipped my hair and, played happy-go-lucky kind of girl but didn't really take life seriously, right? That I was less of a quality of a person, and then I think there was that underlining for a while, I wasn't good enough. And these are the things that I think had kind of consistently gone through my life. So maybe some of you also have those things. So whatever those are right now, they don't have to remain and be you, right? I think that's the biggie to get.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I know. And now it seems like, wow, people are even looking at me in that way that I'm smart.
Yeah.
And there's a class of people that really get that I am, an energetic virtuoso,
Hey.
in a huge quantum way.
Yeah, cool.
And I now, know that about myself, so it's like the outside is really truly matching what I desire on the inside. Now, was that true 5 years ago?
Or what you
Right?
not necessarily, wouldn't you say it's not necessarily it is what you desire too, right? It is a
In this case,
yeah.
this
I gotcha.
example.
I gotcha. Go ahead. I derailed you. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking when I was going to say that it's also you are now broadcasting what you believe about yourself,
Yeah.
right? And it's not believe, it's really what you know to be true.
Right.
And
Well, and
so
I truly
the outside's meant
Right.
mirroring that back to you, right?
But
They're showing you that.
Wouldn't you also say it's that true acknowledgement?
Sure.
Where I go, I know that this is true about me.
Yes.
And not from an egoic standpoint. I hope that you really get this. This is like I am this. And what I'm saying is, you are too. And it's just that beginning to change what Leonka called the signature resonance, and really just, breaking this down and going, I think that people think this about me. Quote, do I think this about me? And then a lot of times you go, no. I mean, that's like what your inner child does, right? It's like, no,
Yeah,
that's not true.
they're wrong, right?
No.
Or yeah.
Yeah. And we're all in different spaces and places with this. And I just feel like, if you feel like people think a certain way about you, you really need to go and say, is that true for me? And work on what you really do know is true for you.
Dana says people assume my life is easy and like from afar. And she said that's so far from the truth. Now, well, in the past, and she said, also, I just want to be careful with that statement as well, because why wouldn't you want your life to be easy? So sometimes we get this idea of what yes, I have that too, Dana, and I felt like people would kind of project that on me. One of my old business partners was like, "Well, I don't have a husband and I don't have it easy like you do." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." But and I was like, we have two totally different, checking accounts. We have like different finances. Our worlds are different. And I came to my marriage with my own investment property, like that kind of stuff, right? Like it wasn't. So then I found myself though defending how hard I have it. I was like, well, I've got to pay my own bills and nobody's
matter. It's just somebody else's fucking
yeah,
opinion.
correct. But what happens is that when I was doing the defending of how hard I have it, what I did was create more places for it to be hard. More places for me to prove that I had to make, tons of money in order to make my life look not easy or just, and I was like, now I realize like, so freaking what if my life is easy? Now that may not be untrue for the reasons that she thought, but hell yeah, I want that shit to be easy.
Yeah.
I want life to be on my terms, not like I'm not saying coasting.
We want easy anyway. I think we want ease.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Ease.
Different.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. I want my life to unfold and be of ease.
Yeah.
That is the variable. That does have a frequency difference.
Yeah,
but
because
but it's very different than
easy is like it's like there's no struggle, there's no learning, there's no mistakes. It almost sounds like boredom to me.
Yeah. But yeah. So yes, I want my life of ease, but what I definitely didn't need is life where it's not easy, right? Like a life of hard and strife. And so just want to point out that too. So be real clear about your signature resonance that you do want to put out there and have that in your mind. Because Jenith knew what I was trying to say about what I really want, what I want my life as. And she knew that the word easy wasn't the actual resonance, but my life now comes with much more ease. So that's just another way of how we can fall into these preconceived traps because we're so trying to prove that that's not true. Right. And instead, we then make it much harder for ourselves, or we creating the most thing that we don't want, or another form of what we don't want. Does that make sense? I love saying that. Does that make sense? That's my favorite word.
So how do you craft a signature resonance, right? Because the way that I crafted it, it did actually kind of, it kind of found itself for me, but it did start with hypnotherapy. Because when I started studying NLP and really how the brain works and the synapses and how they fire and wire together, when I got that information, I really started to understand frequency better. When I could go into a hypnotherapy session and go from being angry, frustrated, and annoyed to leaving the session feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm having this, I'm creating this. This is so exciting. And I could make that shift very quickly. And now I can make it like that.
Nice.
And I don't think a lot of people talk about it this way, for one. But whenever have, say you're experiencing anger, frustration, even stuckiness, all of that is like in your body creating various hormones, creating, a way that to make you quote feel that way. And in the study of epigenetics now, they're finding that, gosh, people that laugh for 20 minutes, though that changes like 22 genes,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Or I don't even know how many.
Basically, people are healing themselves for just turning off the news and putting on
some
comedy.
dancey music.
Yeah. And it's because they're changing their signature resonance.
And they're also changing their biology.
Yep.
Because that changes all those chemicals that are going through you.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that makes total
I mean,
sense.
there's a big difference between looking on the bright side of things.
Sure.
And actually
Being brighter.
embracing and embodying and acknowledge that there really is a bright side. If you listen to Tuesday's show, we had 2 shows that came out on Tuesday. They were both, oh, so good. But in the one that we did, I was sharing some about Disney and how the rides were changing me.
Yeah.
And, I just feel like I could leave Disney and actually still have some of the genetic and chemical changes through my body really change.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is that I noticed that my life, I wake up and I am different than I was 6 months ago, a year ago. And it's a quantum leap to where I was in 2020, if you read the newsletter, because I went, I was doing this work before I had these talents, but my work was losing momentum for me. And I was just I was just like falling into this complacency and kind of this, I don't wanna, it was like this little baby child that, and all these energies weren't really mine, but it was the collective of what was going on in 2020 is what I really discovered. So I think that the signature resonance, you've got to look at what is it that I know for myself and how much of me is being conditioned by other people in this reality.
Or the thoughts that you think other people are projecting, because a lot of it's not true. A lot of it is story that we tell ourselves.
If you're putting out a frequency of I'm not good enough and lack, people will judge you that way because they'll sense the frequency of it.
I don't even want to use the word judge because people will receive you that way. Like, in other words, if you're writing let's say you are trying to get clients and you're writing an email, and two people could be writing the same exact email, have the same exact people on their list. One of them is high vibing and one of them is just not really feeling like this will work. Again, all of the parameters, all of the things if we could make a scenario where all of things are the same, which one of those two are going to be well received? Which one of those two are going to sell stuff or invite people to their, programs or whatnot? The person that's high vibing, right? Because people can feel it. We have this natural ability um, of magnetism, and it is a universal physical law. And one of them is going to be broadcasting that which you do not want to broadcast. And one of them, well, they may or may not want to broadcast that, but one of them is broadcasting, this is not going to work. And they're right. And one of them is broadcasting, hey, this is just an invitation. I'm high vibing. Join me.
Yeah.
That is the difference.
Yeah, it's sort of like if there is an ocean, and in this ocean there is, a really, really positive dolphin that is like always happy all the time. You're attracted to that dolphin, and then there's a grumpy old shark that you just want to view from a distance. Well,
they're two totally different species, but yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just, I mean, I was just trying to think of
No, I know, I
to give you a
gotcha.
visual on it.
Janet says, like attracts like. Yes, and you've heard, we've all had that, right?
Quantum
Right.
entanglements.
Yes,
And
it is.
that word.
Yeah, I mean, really, that is how it works. And know that your signature resonance is already with you. So it's part of it's your soul essence. That necessarily it doesn't even it's not born at birth.
Yeah.
You already have it.
I
It
think
is connected with
yes,
yourself
I mean,
and source.
this isn't rocket science what we're talking about. We know
Maybe
that.
they were.
But what I think we want to share with you is the path to get there. The path to change these vibes can be really simple, but most of this reality is not practicing ways and practices and getting to know themselves well enough to actually do this work to say, what is my signature resonance? What am I broadcasting right now? And if you're not happy with it, go, I'm changing this. This is what I'm broadcasting.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's a lot of ways to get to it for each individual.
Mhm.
And you do have to navigate and find your flow around it. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about vision boards and being the frequency with it.
Yeah.
And really help you, maybe have this almost like a workshop where you can do this together.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, just so that people can understand, tell us a little about your history with vision boards. Like, what was that? Yeah, go ahead.
So, I have had zero interest, felt like it was elementary. Promoted, made a joke and made it say vision board, BORD.
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I have my board. It's all pretty. It's got little pictures, and I did it on Canva. Like I am all in. So she'd be like, "Oh, vision boards," and I'm like, "Whatever."
And then realized Joe Dispenza is talking about mind movies, right? Where we literally go into hypnosis and then crack your eyes open to the vision, quite literally, of what you want. The neuroscience research around this actually says that, we are so visual with our imagination and things like that, that we just kind of suck in visuals. Like it, writing words like I'm going to be is okay. But in general, we like the actual image. Well, turns out in December, when we had a little break from the show and Christmas was happening, I decided to go on a cleaning fit. And I found like 30 plus journals where I would write in there what I want next and goals and things like that. And I came across about 4 of my New Year's goals or my next year, what I want things. I never wanted to call them resolutions, by the way. And then I came across a book when I was willing to play a little bit with cutting out pictures in magazines and things like that.
Like, how long ago was that? What year was that?
2006. Like when I left corporate America. That's how elementary I was. Like, it's so old and elementary. Well, I went through the book and I had manifested like every single thing in it.
Yeah,
that was visual.
Yeah, it was uncanny.
It was exact furniture items.
Her on a horse. I was like, dude, that looks just like you riding a horse. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, this is weird. I manifested the beach house in 2014. I had like this beautiful house on the water. And she looked at it and she's like, this is a picture of your beach house.
I was like, is that the beach house? And she goes, no, that's a cutout. I go, you're kidding. It looks like I'm standing in the living room of your beach house. And those are the windows. And that's the couch. She goes, I know. I was like, dude, this is insane. Yeah. It's insane.
It's almost like maybe I should put a picture of the beach house and a picture of the vision that I did in 2000.
We'll put it up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see.
Wild.
It's amazing.
So now that I've realized that, I mean, clearly I chose those pictures because I did want a sense of that. But I just, I now realize that, it's more than looking at a vision board and saying, you know what, I'm going to be that. Like, it doesn't take that much effort.
Ay, ay, ay.
Sorry about the doggy.
Here.
So what I'm inviting you to now is to really, let's play with this together this year. When we're just starting our year, we're about to enter in a week from Saturday, do this massive summit where they'll take you into the frequency. And these are all truly experienced teachers and luminaries that can take you into the frequency. Why wouldn't we use that time to really craft the frequency and the vision of what we want to create in 2025?
Yeah.
Bianca and I are kind of going to be on behind the scenes doing that for ourselves.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And then I shared this story, I don't know if it was on the air or not, but of how the last couple of, like, just when she was gone and I was doing a lot of the busy work and some customer service and running the show, in between that time, I usually do stuff that's more expansive for to move, the show along and what are we working on next? And I just kept feeling blank. I felt blank about my life. I felt blank, like I just felt like I didn't know what to do. Like I was like, oh, like and then I didn't even have desire. Like I felt like I couldn't get out of bed, kind of. And I was like, oh, what is this? It's so annoying. Well, I looked at the ground and realized that I had an old vision board that I always had my vision board there kind of by my sometimes I'm by my bedside, sometimes I move it. It's like a little poster board, and I'll move it to my office. Well, I had taken it down and I had flipped it the opposite direction so it's facing the wall. And then I had a brand new white one sitting right next to it, and both of them on the ground blank. And I thought, oh shit. And it had been like that for 3 weeks because I hadn't done a new one. And I thought, oh damn. Not that it came from a blank space place. I meant I was like I wasn't just, it was weird. And I go, oh shit, I'm doing my vision board. And I thought, my goodness, I need to have something just, it's fun to see. And I now know that those things are very much available for me because everything's available for everyone because of how quantum physics works.
I know.
Yeah. Even epigenetics, we're not controlled by our our not necessarily DNA, but our generational predispositions, right? Yes, there are things that can be in the ethers for conditions or like when people do predictions, right? Let's say that I was going to tell you your future. And I always say if somebody's going to tell you your future, they're lying, but that's a little harsh. That's a little harsh. But
but they can read your mind enough that I think that
what they're doing,
sense where you're going.
What they do is that yes, and they are seeing one version of the timeline. So they're seeing things conditional, like conditions are favorable for. So big things that were happening, like how I work with Nostradamus, that energy. He was able to see the timelines in which conditions are favorable for. Those are called nexus points. So you have certain different nexus points that you're on a current trajectories. Dana said, yes, absolutely. You are on a certain timeline that they're pulling forth, right? Now, every single second, every single question pulls us into another possibility. And everything all exists, and I talk about this often, as a superposition. So it's already here. It's already there with you. You just need to have it come to the timeline that you're with and asking the right questions of yourself to have it actualize in your current reality.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yes. I think you need to go back to this recording and like piece that apart just a little bit because it's well said. And I think that, at the end of the day, it's, can I be this signature resonance like all day long, every day, right? I really feel like that's a big part of this work is it's great that you can do a 30-minute meditation, but can you continue that frequency on so that you can see evidence and progress towards what change you're really requesting. And it doesn't happen instantaneously like a miracle all the time. Really, what you're looking for is progress so that you feel a higher vibe with that progress, right? So then that progress, you feel a higher vibe for that progress, and then you
Right.
and that is how you change and up level. And I think it's really important, like even if you're healing something within your body,
Yeah.
just see a little bit of evidence first, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like it takes time for your body to finally say, I got the new frequency.
Valentina put it best. She said, leaving the crap behind and moving forward.
Kind of.
Even if you don't see the little evidences, because I promise you they are existing behind the scenes in the stuff that you don't even see. And then all of a sudden you turn around from 2006 to 10 years later and you're looking in your book and you go, oh shit, that happened.
Yeah. And
It happens. So why don't we create and design that which we most want to happen? Because either way, there's a movement. Either way, there's a flow, right? It's moving and moving and moving.
Right.
Choose your trajectories.
Yeah. And so I said make notes. We talked about signature resonance, but I think one of the pieces to keep that signature resonance going is called acknowledgement. I used to like bypass this word all the time, but it wasn't until I really started to acknowledge, I am this now. And that's when I could go, okay, I've gotten to this. Now what's possible? What's next? Right. So I feel like you got to go from great, I'm broadcasting signature resonance. Then you see evidence that up levels your vibe because you do feel more worthy. You feel great, greater, you feel healthier, whatever the shift is that you're asking for. But it doesn't really become anything unless you're like, wow, I actually did change this.
Yeah. I think something important that Valentina also say is that she's noticing that she's leaving the crap behind and going forward. I'm seeing it many times a day. That's progress.
Absolutely. So acknowledge the progress, right? And it can't seem like a lie, like,
because that's truthful, right?
That is
what y'all see. You hear right there. That is her. Not saying that I'm being it every single one. I'm not that every either too. Like somebody pulls out in front of me, I'm like, I'm spiritual, but sometimes I got some words. But she now notices the times where she is more of that, leaving that crap behind. Because now I have a lot more grace where I'm like, whatever, I don't know what they're going through. Let me just let it, maybe that's they pulled out in front of me because God wants me to just be here, or my angels want me to just take a pause. And maybe I'm not going to get into a wreck later, right? So I find little ways to feel grateful. And I feel like Valentina talking about that progress, finding those little wins and acknowledging them is exactly how we bring more of that into our and to start to broadcast that even more times and be in that more spaces of the day.
Yeah, it was funny last night. My husband's kind of in a grumpy mood. He finished all these 4 races and he's had this big high and he just had this one day of enjoyment. And then he went to the doctor and found out that he has to have another surgery. And, everything just kind of went crashing down. And I think the one thing that saved it was I said, look at what you did do last year.
Yeah.
You lost 60 pounds. You had 2 surgery bumps that, messed things, your actual training up. You still ran 3 of the races at the time you wanted. The only reason you didn't get the time on the last one was because of our son's injury. I really worked on him acknowledging him.
Yes.
And I think between the expression of him just saying, this sucks, and I don't really want to stop the progress because of another surgery, he at least like left in a little bit better mood because
that.
And I think any time that you acknowledge you, And especially if somebody else does too, it's just a real big deal.
Yeah.
Really big deal. So I would say that would be step two, is to recognize, acknowledge the progress, like really take it in, celebrate the progress, and really just love on yourself after you make even the tiniest, tiniest, tiniest change.
Yeah. What Valentina said is huge.
Mhm.
Is huge. There are other people that are walking around, I would say, glowing all the dang time and writing about it and being Aries and fairies. But I think what she said, those simple pieces of acknowledge to me
Mhm.
is even bigger of a movement and change. Not that I'm comparing the two, but what I'm trying to say is that little bit of like that right there shows that even no matter where you are in this journey, that if you just acknowledge just a little bit, it keeps coming and it just keeps coming. It's
Mhm.
compounding. It's naturally, you are naturally attracting more of it.
Mhm.
Honestly, is the way it works. So
Yeah.
right on, and then bravo to you, chica.
So what would be the next step? We talked about signature resonance. We talked about acknowledging. What do you think? What do you think else?
That you got something in
I have a
sleep.
couple more.
Okay.
Okay. The next thing I think is the willingness to be able to dream and really take time to take your inner uh, insight and inner being to a place that you don't think is really possible, but think it could be possible. And the way I get there is say, do you think there's a possibility in the field that I could do this earlier or that I could recover faster? And I think that there's this play of this willingness to really ask the field, how could we speed this up? And I don't think people are, and I'm keep using the word willing because I don't think anybody hears it whenever I say
I
it.
got it. Yeah.
Right.
There's a difference
There's
there.
a difference between like, I'm going to do this and just the willingness to try to be in
That's
it,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, and I feel like a lot of my slowdown has been, I will poo-poo things before I will even like try it.
Vision board.
Gonna work. These vision boards are too elementary. I don't want to take the time to do a vision board. I've actually heard myself say that.
And wouldn't it be cool if you could just let it be a contribution? Just do the things that look, all these people, I mean, even Steve Harvey is like, man, dude, I got a vision board. All the people that I know that are successful got a vision board. If you got pictures of your kids on your phone, change that to your vision board. Like this is really real how it works. And I thought, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I was like, that man knows what they're, all these thought leaders know what they're doing. Why am I trying to skip over those little easy things to do? Just let it be a contribution.
John Assaraf in The Secret said, not only did I manifest a house, but I manifested the exact house.
Yeah, I remember that.
And now I'm seeing evidence of that from a 2006 vision
Not
board.
even 10 years later.
Not even one that I like have open and look at on a regular basis.
I know. Whoa, dude.
It's like the universe literally looked at it and it's like, okay, I can pick this out. I can make her do this.
Yeah. Imagine if you had done it line of sight, right there in your put on your computer.
How fast could I have done it? I think there's a possibility in the field where I can have it all.
Yeah. Put it on your screensaver, put it on your computer or desktop. You don't have to have it right there. I like having mine where I carry it around as a poster board, but I mean, I blew myself away because I created everything on that board, and anything that I didn't, I have the words this or something better. So it give the universe the space to co-create with me.
And also on the show last Tuesday, if you haven't listened to it, it's a really good show. But on the show that we did together, there was also I was talking about goals versus routines because I was noticing with all these written lists, I was just writing down like goals that I wanted. And they were like every year they're the same too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the weirder thing. It's like, make it was always a different amount of money, but make this more money.
Yeah.
It was about more money.
Yeah.
It's about less weight.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I relate. I can relate. That's
Right?
mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there would be other things thrown in that, sometimes were just per year. Sometimes I wanted to travel somewhere. Those were usually ones that I did do too, the ones that were different.
Ah,
It'd
interesting.
be like travel to Europe. Okay,
Yeah.
check that off my list. And I think that if I would have used visuals instead of words and lists, I think that I would have, I mean,
We'd be sitting in a
yeah,
different
it would have
studio.
been, yeah, it would be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Life would be a little bit
Yeah.
different.
What
Mhm.
the other thing I was gonna say too is it's funny because you said Europe, right? Well, in that book that I was looking through, you had these Eiffel Towers, just a little picture of these little Eiffel Towers.
Uh-huh.
And you actually ended up going to the Eiffel Tower and then have Eiffel Towers all through your house
I
now.
do have
It's
Eiffel Towers.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That one's a little more intentional for me. I wrote a book called Falling in Stilettos, and
That's even cooler.
and
It has an Eiffel Tower.
it had three different Eiffel Towers. It had one on a movie set, one in Paris, Las Vegas,
Did you know you were gonna write a
or
book?
not Paris, one in real Paris, and one in Las Vegas. And I had them all show up in the book somehow because I just have something that I just love about Paris. I feel
Yeah.
like time bleeds there, and I literally go into a different timeline, a different zone when I'm there. I don't really love the French people or the language. The language is really, really hard.
She loves the French
But
people. French people, she loves you.
maybe it's just certain ones. They're just a little bit too harsh.
Okay, so you don't
Yeah.
like the difference in your understanding of the culture. But what I was gonna say is back then when you were cutting those pictures out, did you know that you were gonna have the Eiffel Tower on the front of your book?
No.
Isn't that crazy, y'all? Like this is how it works.
But I did know that I was in love with Paris.
Yeah, sure, right?
Yeah.
And so it definitely came as a theme, but think about how we, that let's just not sell ourselves short. Let's do the vision, let's do those easy things, and be willing to step into that dream. Willing. You don't have to even say, I have this. I'm just willing.
Yeah, just willing.
I'm just willing.
Start.
Because that's all it needs to be.
Yeah. So we've got signature resonance. We've got really truly acknowledging the progress that you've made. We've got being willing, like truly, truly being willing to, explore your dreams, explore your wishes, and anything that doesn't allow you to say, I'm in. Would you destroy and uncreate all that, right?
Yes.
Because I felt like I used to not be able to go there in a real way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I couldn't.
I didn't either.
Yeah, like I couldn't dream because I wouldn't make it anyway.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's such a and that's just a frequency where there is a little bit of you don't feel worthy of it. You don't feel capable. You don't yet trust yourself. All of those are frequencies through hypnosis, meditation, even saying, I am, I am, I am in mantras. I am confident. I am capable. I trust myself. Even going that route creates change. So the invitation is give it a go.
There it is right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that invitation.
We just want to address a few things on the chat. So yeah, the Paris.
Anisha said Paris
is amazing. I
love
love
Paris.
Paris. Yeah.
French speaker.
Uh-huh.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Joe says, I realized my group that I do wasn't growing because I kept telling myself I'm no good in large groups. Oh, I participate in large groups and
do fine.
I never actually lead a group. How do I know I'm no good, right? Leading a large group. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
I'm not listening to that lie anymore. I can do this. Here's the
well,
thing.
the lie is it the only reason I'm going to say something first and then you can say something. look, whenever you do this, and we all do somewhere in our life, I
Yeah.
mean, let's just admit that straight up.
Yeah.
You know, we're all the problem. But whenever we do that, I think one of my first ones was nobody wants this anyway,
Mm.
right? Nobody likes this, nobody wants this anyway. And that meant my energy work.
Yeah, that reminds me of your
Yeah.
QHHT session
Uh-huh.
where you told me a story of a party and
Oh,
you
right.
thought
And
nobody
nobody
was
came to the
coming.
party.
You were like, nobody's coming.
Yep.
Nobody came. Like, and it
Yeah.
turned out that some of the coolest people did.
And I
And
realized it after.
yeah, but were you creating that limitation? And as a child, this must have been
Yeah,
a belief somewhere,
I know.
right? So,
Right. I had this belief that
wow.
nobody liked me. So how could I build a community or an audience? And then for a while, and maybe still, I'm like that dark chocolate strawberry ice cream flavor. Like you really have to get to know me, and then you will be 100% in love with me, and just like, oh my gosh, I got to be around her.
Or are you
But if you
creating more
don't
of
take the
that?
time to
Or
get
are you creating
no,
more
I'm
of that?
addressing this.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you don't take the time to see what I'm really all about and what's really in the depth of this dark chocolate, then you go, whoa, this is like way outside my box, right? So that's what I think about myself. There's like a lot of depth here, but it comes with this like flippant, playful, cheeky attitude that, sometimes stops people from even getting to know me in the first place. So that is how I see things right now. But I would like to explore what else is
I
possible
love
with
that.
even that, because I feel like I've been like, that's a way for me to justify and separate stuff.
Oh, cool, man. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. Super
So
valuable.
just to respond to Joe's, because I know that that resonates with a lot of people when we lie to ourselves like
Yep.
that. And it's almost like such a quiet lie that, you can't even, you're like, I know that this is true, right? But, what if it's not true? And what if you're, actually not doing it because of other reasons and you're making that lie become true?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you believe it about yourself, you will make it become true.
Yes. So I was going to
Yeah.
say exactly that. What Joe said there, he said the words, I am no good in large groups. I participate and do fine, but I never actually lead a large group. And right there where you're saying I can't lead a large group or I'm no good at large groups, whether it's actually true or not, he's right. And the
Mm,
reason why he's right, or he's making that right, it may not be true, but he's making that right is because that's his belief.
right.
So, what the universe is going to give you exactly what you had served up. And what he's serving up is, I can't and I'm no good at large groups. So, of course, the universe is saying,
So,
cool.
cool, you're no good at large groups. Okay, we'll
So,
only
yeah,
give you a couple people then.
yeah, right. So, you see how,
It's funny
you
because
know,
I actually feel like I thrive with the large group and I kind of suck with the smaller people because, with a larger group, I can really play on the energy. It's like a whole, symphony or, a whole band, right?
sure.
Whereas if there's only a couple people, I don't seem to thrive as well.
And that could all be conclusion, right?
Totally. I don't, nobody's told me that on the outside,
Right.
you know. I just feel that way on the inside.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Valentina says because of law, cause and effect, law of cause and effect. Small groups can be more dynamic than large groups. Right. So there's all these beliefs that we do, and everything that we are creating
Mm.
is completely, absolutely 100% based on those beliefs.
Yeah.
Period. Even the beliefs of the collective. What if you could step out of what the collective, don't be the collective, y'all.
Yeah, flip the
What if we could-
collective.
So everywhere where you've
Sorry about my language.
aligned and agree, yeah, Everywhere you well, let's do a
Go
clearing
for
on
it.
that.
Yeah, I'm ready. I got my hands going.
Everywhere where you've aligned and agreed with today's terms, how it's supposed to be. It is this way. We please destroy and the belief system of the collective. We destroy and uncreate that, please.
Yes, please.
2 and 3. Yes. And you could do that again and again and again because there's so many different places. Even just being born, we are born into this system of how things have already been. What if we could already just allow our soul to step out of like the human form and just be with the energies of that which we
I think
would like to create? Anything that doesn't allow you to do that, we destroy and create, please. And take a breath.
1, 2, 3. 1,
1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Gosh. Love
And
it.
I feel like that needs to be run kind of in a different way too,
Do it.
right?
Let's do it.
So what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your body be
Uh-huh.
to be what infinite frequencies that you desire and wish to be? Anything that doesn't allow you to just pick that off the shelf and choose it,
Nice.
would you destroy and uncreate?
Yes.
1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3.
I see, because right there, I started to get hooked on the part where it's like, allow myself to be and all these desire to be. And I was like, oh, what if I don't desire? Like, what if
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
desire
think
that?
you have to desire. You can choose any frequency, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's another key point here.
What if my desires are too big?
Well, take desire out. What can
Yeah.
you choose?
Ooh,
Right?
Right.
Like, is there a possibility in the field for blah? And what can you choose in that blah? Right? Like, is there a possibility in the field for you to run a mile? Right?
Is there a possibility for you?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Right.
feel like there is a possibility.
Right.
And so what would it take for you to pick that possibility off the shelf and integrate it into your chemistry, into your moods, into your vibe, into your genes?
You just
And
have to be willing.
yeah, you just have to be willing. And then when you see progress, you acknowledge it, you bring it all in with all that love, all that infinite gratitude, like, oh, thank you, universe, for
Almost kind of
delivering
dorky
this.
about it.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
I am.
I am too, because I read like something from Gabrielle Bernstein. She says when you're having those high vibes, she says lean in because and make it kind of bigger. So sometimes I just lean in and I'm like, damn, I'm feeling good. So I'll move and I'll stretch and I'll shake it all in. Like, cause I mean, I'm feeling good. So I want more of that. And so then it shows up more in my life. But I love to lean in. I get dorky with it, y'all.
Sometimes I'm just like, good job, me.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Do it. Laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Make yourself laugh more.
Right.
So she says to just expand it out, play in it.
Yeah.
So I'll dance around. I mean, and my son's looking at me like, Mom, and of course, move. And so he'll do it too. And that even permeates throughout the house, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. So lean in when we have those moments for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, and there's a get dorky with it.
Get down and dorky with it. That might be our new theme. Get dorky with it.
For real, right? Because it makes you laugh and then you expand it more.
Yeah.
What is that next one you're thinking?
So I think that this is personal and you can choose it if you wish. But I like to have practices around this and routines. And I mentioned that on the earlier show, and I've kind of mentioned it throughout. But, if you're, trying to heal something in your body, what are your practices around healing that in your body? Is it like you're trying to calm your nervous system on a regular basis? Well, what's your practice for calming your nervous system? Maybe you're eating foods that, aren't causing inflammation through your body. That could be one. Maybe meditation is two. Maybe getting some true physical exercise and expressing yourself with some really loud music. Maybe that's yours. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like getting our frequencies, those Hertz frequencies for $8. And you can like dive in. Yeah. And you can dive into a theta frequency every single night.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your way, right? What are your ways to create the change? Like what would be the
You need to outline them too,
right? Yeah. What would be your routines to add? I think that that's my personal revelation this year is that I really want practices, so that I can, watch the progress and acknowledge the progress and then be willing to dream more and everything else we talked about during this call.
And anything that doesn't allow you to believe this or to you think, oh, I can't do that, or just any like any resistance that you have to even this whole conversation, will you be willing to destroy and create, please?
Yeah.
Take a breath. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3.
I mean, I feel like this conversation isn't like that deep as much as it is, I don't, maybe deep isn't the right word.
Yeah,
but maybe let's ask I want to ask you guys in the audience, what is your feeling on this? Like what do you really,
what's coming up for you?
Yeah, what's coming up? Like what resistance is coming up? What struggles coming up? What thoughts are going through your head? Are you thinking you might take action around this when you hop off the call and start writing in your journal that these would be my routines? Or are you going, no, I'm good.
Susan, are you good with that? Manisha, Ruben, are you making some new,
yeah, and comments out on the YouTube. We're here too. I see lots and lots of comments out on YouTube today.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for participating. And if you think about it, can you also like and comment in the real comments afterwards?
Yeah, just cut and paste them and put them over there as well.
Right.
So we can tell the algorithm we're creating change on this earth.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is if you had heard this conversation a couple years ago, what would have been some of those things that you would have maybe some of rejections or some places where you might have some, I don't know, like vision board. I'm still not going to do it. I heard them. They told me Jack Canfield did it. They told me Steve Harvey does it. They even showed me how in 2006 to 2025, we created XYZ, but I still am not going to go and get that, poster board. And I probably am not going to open up, just a blank sheet of Word document and stick some pictures in there. I mean, if you know you're not going to do it, I kind of want to know. Right? And everything that you have a resistance around, will you just be willing to destroy and create that now, please?
Yes.
And take a breath. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Because what I want you to do. Hey.
I'm sorry.
I was doing the quiet talk and everything, y'all. No. I had changed my voice. I had gone the soft voice. What I want you to do is acknowledge that where you are, any places that you had that resistance, and just the acknowledgement of anything changes things. And then just ask yourself, am I willing to let even just this conversation be a contribution? And anything that doesn't allow you to do that, we just run and create, please.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. And take a breath.
Thank you.
Now, from that space, will you be willing to just let a little bit more come in? Just a little more willingness. Thank you. Yes. Ooh, I feel people's souls saying yes, yes. And then will you be willing to just identify? I'm not even telling you to go make goals, because I came to work. I came to the studio one day and I sat down and Jenith had this a little line, and on one side it said goals and the other side it said
routines.
Right, routines of choosing. And we had a whole talk about it, but I see that visual very clear. So I'm not asking you to make a goal. What I'm asking you to do is maybe just, and I like writing, I always say handwrite, just a couple little routines that you might be willing to choose for you today. Woo! Anything doesn't allow you to do that, we destroy and create, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Now you are closer into that frequency where you are willing to, and you know you are co-creating at any point with this universe. It's going to move anyway. You're going to be creating things anyway. Would you be willing to see that by choosing a few of these routines, you could be choosing your life, the life of your dreams? Anything that doesn't allow you to believe that, we destroy and create now.
Yes.
And take a good breath, a good breath. Let's move that. Whew.
Very
1, 2,
fun.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That was my PSA.
Love it. Just a reminder, we're growing, we're growing this audience, we're growing this group. We also have an inner circle that we're opening up after the 25th. Right now, we've closed it down for any new people, but that will open up shortly. And I think it's going to be really, really fun for you guys. So if you're interested in just like working and doing this on a regular basis with us on a monthly, in a more of a private, like group facilitation format, that is coming soon, by the way.
And it comes with tons of different gifts, and it comes with access to all of the different interviews we've ever done, lots of tools to support you. And we will also, you'll get the behind the scenes trainings on everything that we'll be rolling out for the year too.
But this would be a jumping off point and saying, okay, I'm becoming more aware of my signature resonance on a daily basis, what I identify myself as, what I think other people see myself as, and I would like to work on it with, a bunch of like-minded people or a handful of like-minded people. I mean, these are small groups right now, right? And you can come with this, you know, like I'm noticing this in my life, what would be a way for me to step forward from this, and we can celebrate your progress together and all these different steps that we've talked about. So I just feel like I want you to know that that's coming, that if you're looking for a group that really creates from this multi-dimensional being, sometimes plays with aliens too.
Hey,
Sometimes channels some really weird stuff, and if that is calling to you, be sure to look for that. We will open the doors for that on the 25th, and we will talk about it more the week after. So we've just got a couple more announcements that we just wanted to put out there before we wrap for today. This has been so much fun.
And remember, everything that we do here also, so if you want to share this with the other people in your world, they just lovingly send over the newsletter that we have. You can forward those. We ask that you just opt in or just join us, get our inner world. It's www.hothustle.com. And every time people subscribe, they open the emails, a portion of all the proceeds go back to benefiting rising up.org. They I want to say mass manufacture. They repair and refurbish different laptops and devices so that children and women can continue to get online for safety and education. So everything has a movement. And really, this is a movement. This is a movement of creating your space in the world that we most want to live in. We really make it a point to redefine what it is to be hot and hustle. Today's hot is all about it's not just luxury for luxury's sake. What's hot and couture today is products and services and these conversations that benefit you, me, the world, Gaia, that really is a true contribution. That's what's hot.
The greater good,
right?
Right.
And then hustle. Hustle is no longer that 9 to 5, that struggle, that strife. Hustle is all about a movement. It has its own inertia. It's strut your stuff, feeling good, lean in, and it's all about collaboration because it gives back to the earth. So I just wanted to have y'all know, a little bit more about the show, a little bit about us, and if January 25th calls to you, be sure to join us.
It's totally free, and you get 15 gifts from speakers that if you've been around a lot, you'll know who they are.
Yeah.
So
We have,
it should
so
be super fun.
sure. So next week we have Emily Harrison. She's been featured on Gaia,
Uh-huh.
and she's going to be talking about the Akashic Academy. It's all about how you learn how to work with the masters, right? The energies of the masters to master your life. So it'll be really fun. She talks about of course, there's lots of different people that talk about the Akashic records.
Mhm.
Well, why? Because we experience the records everyone their own unique way. And so I think it's important to continue to have these conversations where it can just be a contribution to you.
Mhm.
Amy Robinson is going to be on Thursday. She has a lot of stuff that she does on TikTok. She's got a huge platform in creating change. She is one of those people that's like invites you to be, I don't want to say dorky with, but she invites you to just be more of your unique self.
Yeah.
She's all about differentiation. And her TikTok videos, like I'm like, yes, girl. I feel like I'm always like, yes, and yes. And so go check her out. She'll be on Thursday. So again, Amy Harrison on Tuesday, Amy Robinson on Thursday. We get ready for the 25th on that Saturday. That's next
Crazy. Yep.
And we have all of these amazing speakers.
Yeah.
I could just go through the list now, but I don't want to bore you with more time.
And just a reminder, we are putting all these updates now on Instagram. So if you ever get lost with the emails, you can go to our Instagram at How Hustle Live, or or always come back to the YouTube channel,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Which is the youtube.com/@ it has the @ sign How Hustle.
Yay. Or just search How Hustle. We're like the
Yeah.
only ones.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
And the one that is like the fraud for us still links back to our site. So.
Nice. I thank y'all so much for joining us. Continue to invite your friends to share with us as well. We have the biggest heart for you. Thank you for creating this movement with us. And we'll see you on next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Yeah. Have a great week.